It's the cost of being ordinary. It's I have this expression, in my life when I do something stupid and it costs me money, I go, I got to pay the stupid tax. Mm-hmm. And in a sense, it's a stupid tax for advertising. When you do an ad that's ordinary, it doesn't stand out.
Welcome to Todd Liles and the Wizard of Ads. I'm Todd Liles, and in the home services business, it's possible to be busy all the time and still feel like the business is harder than it ought to be. The phones ring, the trucks stay moving, and everybody's working, but somehow the numbers still don't quite reflect the effort. And profit stays tight, growth feels heavier than it should be, and too much of your opportunity that you've worked hard to create never really turns into what it could have been. That's the kind of problem that I have spent my career helping companies solve. I've been a technician, a manager, a trainer, and a contractor. And in 2010, I started Service Excellence to help residential HVAC, plumbing, and electrical companies become stronger, more consistent, and more profitable without losing what makes them good in the first place. I'm also a partner at the Wizard of Ads, so I get to see both sides of it. What it takes to make the phone ring and what it takes to actually deliver a sale from it. And the truth is this, getting the lead is only part of it. What you do before and afterwards is what really shapes the business, and that's what we are here to talk about. With me in all episodes, as always, is Roy H. Williams, the Wizard of Ads himself, New York Times bestselling author, the founder of the Wizard Academy, and the man who taught me that the message matters more than the medium.
Advertising is a tax you pay for not being remarkable. Welcome to Todd Liles and the Wizard of Ads, a podcast for business owners who want to become remarkable. Taco Supreme, Todd Liles is going to take you deep into the mind of Roy H. Williams, the Wizard of Ads, to unleash the timeless truths and secret strategies that have helped him build dozens of America's most successful businesses. Do you want to build a brand that wins the heart, captures the mind, and creates lasting relationships? Take a deep breath and buckle up. It's time to fly.
And we're back with Charlie Moger, our Wizard of Ads partner. In the first episode, Charlie showed us how to build a coherent funnel. And then in the second episode, we talked to him about keeping a brand fresh without losing the soul. Today, Charlie's going to make some people a little uncomfortable. He's going to talk about what it costs to be boring. I want to start with something that Charlie said in our pre-call that I haven't been able to shake. It's the following. He asked me, do you remember watching the footage of the planes flying to the towers? And of course I do. I remember exactly where I was. Then he asked, can you remember the last car ad you saw? And I couldn't. And see, that's the gap. One event burned into a memory with a single exposure, and the other, despite millions of dollars and thousands of repetition, it's gone. And Charlie's point is that the distance between those two extremes is what he calls the attention tax. It's the tax that you pay every time your advertising fails to be rememberable. So today we're going to talk about why safe is for suckers, what fame actually means at the contractor level, and how to stop paying that poor attention tax. Roy, Charlie asked me a question when we were getting ready for this. He said, do you remember when the planes flew into the Twin Towers? I was like, yeah, how do you forget that? I remember exactly where I was at the exact moment in time, all of those things. And he asked me that question because he wanted to make a point that when something has impact, I don't mean physical impact, but I mean like emotional impact, it sticks with us when it catches your attention. And if it catches your attention, it sticks with you, it has recall, it gets buried into the mind. Which sort of brings us to what our topic is today. And our topic today is called the attention tax, or the cost of being ordinary. And obviously that was a terrible, tragic experience. We're not reflecting on that. We're just reflecting on the fact that that doesn't happen very often, thank God. That's an extraordinary moment in time. I bet everybody that's listening remembers that moment. Probably not too dissimilar as to when I was a kid. I remember the Challenger blowing up, and I was a young kid, but I remember that, right? And Sally Ride, I'm going, what's going on here? Because they would reel in videos of Sally, and she would talk to us through our VCRs, and we knew who she was, and this is so cool. And we were watching that in elementary school, and that thing blows up. It shocked us as children. These things happen. These are negative emotional things, but we can attach it to positive emotional things too. So, Charlie, for the audience, will you define the attention tax for someone that's never heard of that term?
It's the cost of being ordinary. It's I have this expression, in my life when I do something stupid and it costs me money, I go, I got to pay the stupid tax. And in a sense, it's a stupid tax for advertising. When you do an ad that's ordinary, it doesn't stand out. Now, Peter Field did this thing with Adweek recently, and they spoke about it at the last cons, that they looked at all of the ads in the System 1 database, right? And they said, look at the ones that were dull and ordinary. Now let's look at the ones that had great effect. How much would we have to run the dull ones to match the effectiveness of the ones that drew attention, right? The difference was 10 million pounds more you would have to spend to equal.
And a pound is a lot more than a dollar.
It's it's about $12 million in U.S. Okay, so so that's the cost. If you're looking for a cost of it, of being ordinary, of being dull.
Do you remember if it cost $10 million more? Do you remember what the other baseline was? Like how much they were already spending?
No, they were just talking differentials.
10 million is a lot of money, no matter what.
10 million pounds is a lot of. 12 million is even more, right? So, but then they went further. They went and they got 20 seconds of footage of a cow behind barbed wire eating grass in a field. And it wasn't even a pretty cow, right? It's just a cow eating grass. And they tested it against all of the ads in the System 1 database. It beat half of them.
Remind the listeners what System 1 means.
Well, System 1 is actually a company called System 1, but they're referencing System 1 in your brain is your gut feeling, your intuition, your natural instinctive response. It's called thinking fast and slow. When you're thinking fast, gut feeling, intuition, that's how most decisions are made. System 2 is rational, logical, sequential, deductive reasoning. And we like to believe that we make all of our decisions in System 2. Oh, no, we almost never do. Most of the time we go with that thing in our gut. We trust it. We do it. It works because we're not stupid simply because we're doing something that's instinctive and automatic for us. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's actually rare for us to go into System 2, but there is a time when you will, and the advertiser needs to understand how and when to reach you in System 1, which is essentially emotional. System 2 is logical. Mm-hmm. So System 1 is the heart, System 2 is the mind.
Right.
And in this case, what they did, Orlando Wood took that thinking in picking the name System 1 for their Test Your Ad program. And that's why it measures all of the emotions associated with an ad. And so in this test, they said a cow chewing grass in the middle of the field is more intriguing than half of the ads that we have in our database.
Check this out. So I'm familiar with this same study. I went over it with Jacob in depth because that's how he is. He was showing me this stuff. And the thing that I took away from it that was fascinating is he said some 80-something% of all ads are in this unbelievably boring, like on a scale of 1 to 5, they're a 1 or a 2.
Right.
And it's only like this very small percentage, like 3 or 4% of all ads are up in there in this like 5 stars where they really are super effective. And the difference is creativity and risk orientation. And they said, all of the people down here with these really horrible ads that are ineffective, and you have to spend vast amounts of money to get a similar result to what the really good ads will get with way less money. And they says, why don't you guys take a risk? Well, we think creativity is risky. Creativity is risky, and you can get in trouble if you're creative, and you never get in trouble when you do something predictable.
All right.
And that was actually literally the answer of the people.
Yeah.
So,
I saw this study exactly.
So Roy's got this ad campaign going with Billy Klein if you're in the trades, you know who Billy is probably. He's tall, very nice, and he owns a company in Dallas, your new door, where they manufacture doors.
Yeah.
Well, you got him in a doorman outfit, right?
Oh,
And it's such a good doorman outfit, and the background's moving, and it's shot so well that in some of the comments, people are going, "Oh, Billy, this is great. What AI did you use?" They thought that like no way Billy would get dressed up like that.
No.
To me, that's
Zero
an
AI involved in
example
that. Yeah,
of
zero.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's an example of having the ability to take a risk because that's pretty daggum risky. You're going to dress up like a doorman.
Oh, yeah.
It's risky to your ego if you're a certain type of person.
The reason I work with Billy is very similar to the reason I work with Shane Vigiani. I just really like Billy, and I believe in Billy and his wife Jennifer. All right, so we've produced the first 6 ads. I delivered day before yesterday, the second 6 ads. And we're introducing Jennifer as the door queen.
Oh, God.
And so, interesting. So I had this long talk with Billy and Jennifer. I got him on a Zoom call.
But do you have Billy at some point going, yes, queen?
No.
Oh, okay, you're missing out.
No. Anyway, I had to explain to them about world building. And world building is real common among authors of fantasy and science fiction because when you're building an imaginary world, the rules of that world have to be very clear and very consistent. Mm-hmm. If absolutely anything can happen at any time, it's just absurd and nobody believes in it. And anything is possible when you're building a world, but it has to be reliable. It can't be sometimes yes and sometimes no. And I said, so the door queen has a magic wand. And so this is like, I don't want to go too deep into this. I said, these are the rules. If you guys agree to it, if you guys feel okay about this, and they loved it. And so these are going to be amazing ads. The second series, Todd, I predict good things. Because Jennifer is always in the shot. He's married to Jennifer. He's been married for Jennifer for 25 years. And Jennifer, have you seen the door queen? I'll go get her. And so as soon as she's all framed, she steps back in. And she's in this beautiful, she has the magic wand, the tiara, and the whole bit. So obviously the same woman.
Right.
He doesn't realize it. He never realizes Jennifer is the door queen. He never realizes he's married to her.
I love it.
I play with that, and he will never, ever, ever, ever realize. The audience has figured it out all along. The only guy who doesn't know it is him.
That's great.
And so what happens is, I said, now the magic wand. What is possible and what is not possible with the magic wand? What is the scope of its power? What is the scope of the magical abilities of the door queen? And so to create exactly this world, people will go willingly and happily with you into an imaginary world as long as it makes sense.
Yes.
And so I said, we're putting down now rules that can never, ever, ever, ever change. And if we stay true to this, and if everything happens within these rules, these are the things that will never happen. These are the things that always happen. And then I gave them 6 ads, and they're just going, oh, this is so insane fun. And he sent me something yesterday. The TV stations are now getting calls saying, the doorman ads, what's the name of that company? Because I want to call them.
Right.
And it's yournewdoor.com. And we show them the logo and we say it, and it's the whole deal. But they're so enchanted by the doorman outfit. Mm-hmm. They keep saying, what's the doorman? What's the name of his company, the doorman?
That's great. Well, you talk about science fiction. We grew up with it, okay, because you could call it the Mr. Rogers rule.
Yeah.
Right? In Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, nothing bad ever happened.
Nope.
The only place there was conflict was in the land of make-believe.
Yep.
And if you think about it, we have campaigns we do where that is the case, where when we enter the make-believe, that's where hijinks ensue. Here, everything is fine and nice.
Mm-hmm. Example of world building. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I love what you're saying here. And if you commit to those rules, you can do some amazing things. Like Stephen King has built worlds, right? And through all of his books that are under the King name, there are common threads. And some of those rules of his magic are magic fades from your memory after you've been exposed to it. Magic builds to its strongest point at the time of crisis when you need it most, and then it disappears from you again. Wow. So these are some of his common world-building rules. And the evil that affects one universe is tied to the same evil that affects all universes, because a lot of people don't know this. King doesn't just write in a singular Earth. He writes across multiple universes of Earths. But the threads of that magic that he uses, and he never... I don't know that he's ever used the word magic in any of his books. He refers to, telekinesis and the ability to read minds as the shining. And it's never overpowering or extreme except for at a singular moment when they are able to manifest that. It's always weakly there. But he has built these worlds to the point that if you ever go and look it up, there are diagrams that are just massive about how all these worlds connect by these rules. And he doesn't break the rules. And if you pick up a King book, you'll read an entire book. And out of 500 pages, there might be 3 where he ties the world together. And you're like, that's it. And as the reader, it's the highlight of the book for you because you are invested. It's like, oh, the queen showed up. She's only there for a minute, to your example. But he does such a brilliant job of it that, he sold over 500 million books and still selling them.
Yeah.
He understands those worlds very well.
And they both speak to something that we experience when we're writing, and that is that creativity is beget by constraint. You know, if you have no constraint, you've seen actors who go off and do something later when they're in a series, but there's no editor there to constrain them, and it lacked punch. Right? I feel like you've seen any of the guys from Top Gear doing their own thing. Not as good as it was when they had the constraints, and that is one of the reasons that ads work is that, to your point, you thought to have these rules. I have rules with all my characters that this is what they do. They can't break these rules. Every good wizard who writes a character ad has that construct.
You're on to this segment that I put together with Charlie, and you brought it up naturally, Roy, which is it's fame is not a luxury. I want to read something here from Les Binet, paraphrase. Les Binet argues that fame is built on broad reach and mental availability, not narrowing targeting and efficiency obsession. Charlie, in our conversation, brought this to the contractor level. Fame doesn't mean everyone in America knows your name. It means everyone in your market thinks of you first when their AC stops cooling or when you need a new door. And fame compounds over time. Efficiency obsession encourages small thinking, over-targeting, and short-term tactics, and actively works against fame. So I love these concepts because you're like, if you can make Billy and Jennifer famous in Dallas, and you can. If you can make Bolden Brothers famous in their backyard, and you can, fame is another item that locally you can be famous locally. You may not be famous nationally, but you can absolutely be famous locally. And I've heard y'all speak about it, so I'm just going to turn it over as a question. Either one of you, jump in and describe what fame does to us once we become famous in the mind of our clients.
You want to take a shot at that?
Well, I think fame, I'll take a shot, and I want to hear yours. But what fame leads to is fluency, right? And then fluency is what builds the good feeling that builds a brand. That's kind of the food chain of it. And so fame is that when you reach fluency, it's the thing where people recall an ad in a situation where the ad is not present and quote it. Or when they call up, they want to be on the inside and they say something about it to signal, I know who you, I speak your language, I'm one of you. That is, you've crossed over into fame when you've accomplished that.
Roy or Charlie, either one of you, because I think this guy's in your neck of the woods, Charlie. Do y'all have any idea who came up with Mattress Mac's original TV ads?
I tell you what, he is probably one of the most intuitive marketers walking the earth today.
For those of you that don't know, Mattress Mac built a furniture store in Houston.
Jim Mackingvale.
Yeah. What was it?
His name is Jim Mackingvale.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, I just knew him as Mattress Mac. But what's his ad? And we really will save you money. And I'm not even from Houston, and I know that ad, right? But like, how actually?
Roy knows the story because I think Jim told you the story.
I know him real well. Actually,
the reason why I want you to tell the story for context is, before we jump into it, for people that are not from Houston, how rich is this man actually from a silly, we will save you money.
That's not okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
unpack it for us, Roy.
He does a couple $100 million a year in a single location. And he also holds the number 1 through 20 largest bets ever placed in Las Vegas.
Oh.
And so, did you know that?
No.
No. He just very routinely, he will like opening day of the season, he'll bet $14 million that the Houston Astros are going to win the World Series. You know what I mean?
Let me just say, to that money this year. But
right. Now, what happens is he will do crazy stuff like that, and here's why. So Jim will have this crazy idea, and he has the money to do it. And the reason it makes national news every time he does this is because there is no single casino that will cover the bet. And so the casinos will get together and form a consortium. And how much of each of that bet or each, because remember, the odds are so astronomical that his $14 million will pay back like $700 million or something, you know what I mean, or $1 billion or something. And so what he does is he said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I've made this bet for just some ridiculous amount of money, paid the money, and anybody that buys furniture between now and the World Series, okay, if the Astros win, you get back all the money you paid for all the furniture you bought, okay? And if he wins the bet, he has way more than enough money to pay back everybody, all the furniture you bought this year and give you back all your money. That furniture's free because the Astros won. Hooray for Houston. Now, what do you think the value is of pulling a stunt like that? And everybody's excited, and it makes watching the Astros so much more interesting, right? Hey, he is going to make way more than $14 million. Additional profit on the additional furniture he's going to sell he wouldn't otherwise have sold. Does that make sense?
I would imagine the better they play, the more mattresses and furniture he sells.
Here's the point. He does it. As a matter of fact, what he did for several years, I don't know if he still does this or not, every year at the Houston Rodeo, what's it called? The Houston
Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. It's a big
Just
deal.
The world's largest rodeo. But go
big
ahead.
deal. It's a monster huge deal in Houston, the largest in the world. So Jim, there's a 4-H club, you know, the little Future Farmers of America or something, and they all are going to show their animals. Well, the prize steer. I can't remember, steers are not breeding stock by definition.
Right.
Okay. But the steer that wins, the best steer for many years when he was small, they would sell the prize steer at auction to raise money for the club, right?
It goes to education.
There you go, to raise money.
Okay.
So Jim would always stand up and bid $1 million. I'll bid $1 million for that steer, and then he has a barbecue. And everybody invited to the barbecue gets like a $50,000 cheeseburger, because that's how much that cheeseburger cost, you know, based on how much he paid for the steer. And so he's always done stuff like this. Now, here's the true story. True story, absolutely true story. In the 80s, he was in the fitness business. He had 11 gyms around Houston. Overexpanded, the market changed. He lost everything. He lost everything. He had these 11 gyms, thriving and jiving. You know, he's a man about town. I'm just like Coca-Cola, baby. I'm everywhere. And so then he wakes up one day, he's got nothing but a pickup truck, a flatbed trailer, and $5,000 left in the whole world. So he drives his pickup and his trailer to Dallas, to the Dallas furniture market. And he stacks a bunch of sofas and chairs, still wrapped in the plastic, on this flatbed, straps them down, drives to Houston, parks along the side of the road. This is how the brand evolved. Parks along the side of the road, holds up a sign, buy some furniture, I'll follow you home with it. And people would pull over, pay him, pick out the furniture they wanted. He'd drive to their house, unload the furniture, drive back, park by the side of the road. So in like a day, he sold all the furniture, double his money, went back, loaded up the trailer again the next day in Dallas, drove back, did it again. And he found out you don't have to have a big selection. Just has to be a really good furniture at a really good price, and we're going to deliver it right this minute. So do you know how he does $200 million a year? His slogan is, if you buy it today, it's in your house tonight. If you buy a TV from him, today you're watching it tonight. No exceptions. We will follow you home with it. And none of his trucks are marked because he is the guy that sells stuff at a... By the way, Jim McInville has a 27-time inventory turn. And he doesn't do any custom orders. 0 custom orders. 0. You know what his deal is? If you see it, we've got it. And if he's like, you want one of those in a different color? Well, the colors we got are the ones you can see. If you don't like any of those colors, well, you're in the wrong place, man, because those are the colors we got.
Yeah, come back next week. We may have other colors.
No custom orders. If you see it, we have it. If you don't see it, we don't have it. If you pick something out, we're going to follow you home with it. We're delivering it today. We're delivering it right this minute. And so this idea that every other furniture store has about, you're going to come in, talk to our consultants. We're going to custom order. You're going to pick the fabric you want, the stain you want, the wood you want, the sound you want. And then about 6 or 7 months, we'll deliver it to your house. And it's like everybody thinks this custom model is a good idea. And Jim goes, no, it didn't. What he learned with that flatbed trailer parked on the side of the road was, people will buy whatever you've got if they can have it right this minute, and it's a good quality at a good price, the end. Mm-hmm. So he brings in stuff, he puts it out on the showroom floor, he's got some more in this warehouse, and it's flying in there. When you do huge showroom, gigantic gallery furniture showroom, and you're doing a 27, you sell everything every 2 weeks, this vast inventory. And so to turn your money and to put this much money in inventory, make a profit and put that same dollars back in inventory. So you have $1 million, you turn it into $2 million. Mm. That same $1 million, if you're making 100% profit, is $27 million profit on $1 million. If you have a 27-time inventory and 100% markup. Now, he doesn't have a 100% markup, but if you did, the math is, how often can you turn that $1 million worth of inventory, make the profit, and then reinvest the million, make the profit, reinvest the million, make the profit, reinvest the million, with a $1 million inventory and 100% markup? A $1 million inventory with a 27-time inventory turn is a $27 million profit in 1 year on $1 million. And so inventory turn is his genius. Lack of special order is why it works, following you home with it that day. And you know why he has all the trucks are white and they're unmarked? We're not a prestige brand. Mm. You don't want anybody to know you bought it from me. It looks like real expensive furniture. It's extremely high quality. Let them judge the furniture by the furniture, not by the truck that pulled up.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So I'm gonna tie this together and bring it over here to you, Charlie. Right? It's like you described a very, very big business, and people are listening to that going, "Well, I'll never be that big." But then you also wrapped it up with the fact that it's a very large volume business, but he built it on low cost methods, other than taking $14 million bets. Right. He found his moments to be extreme. Billy's doorman outfit, I'm sure, wasn't like, peanuts, but at the same token, it ain't that expensive in the big scheme of things. You get to wear it over and over again. Jennifer's outfit, not that expensive. So
what do they all three have in common?
Yeah,
they all are a fluent device.
They're a fluent device. Which now let's talk about Apollo Plumbing, because when you worked with them, started working with them, there are 3. I think they're over 7 now. Is that right? They're in Seattle and they're starting to build some local fame. What's the fluent device you're using there?
Believe it or not, it's something we came across quite by accident. We originally built the brand on him. A very traditional Wizard of Ads approach. We went in, his character was the diamond for the brand. We built him up as this kind of quirky guy who answers the phone. All the ads were this customer calling in. She doesn't have a name. We don't know what her relationship is with him. Internally we call her Nan. So they're Dan and Nan ads is what we call them internally. And she always calls with a problem. He's there to help and he's answering it. And he's gotten to a point where she says, "Oh, you're Dan," and it's like, so he's become that kind of accidental celebrity in there. Well, he went out and bought this mascot Wrenchy mascot, which is like a college mascot, that one day I just said to him, I said, we should put that in the ads. He said, I love that idea. Next thing you knew, there's a freight truck backing up to my front door with Wrenchy in it. I'm thinking, well, time to get busy. And we came up with this thing where Wrenchy is this character in all the ads, or in many of the ads, where he has this Charlie Brown teacher voice whenever he talks to him, but the only person who can hear Wrenchy is Dan. And so there's this whole character story built on those constraints of that Dan's the only one who Wrenchy talks to. Wrenchy is the dutiful one who goes off to do things. He's on the logo. He's everywhere else. So that's kind of the architecture of the brand. It's built around Dan, but Wrenchy is his Sancho Panza, right?
I haven't seen that ad, so I want to ask some questions about the tonality of it. Is it he can talk to this person and this is a real person that only he sees?
Wrenchy?
Or is Wrenchy real, or is
Wrenchy's
Wrenchy like
real.
a figment of his imagination?
Wrenchy is real. But
Okay.
he's the only one Dan's the only one he talks to.
Okay,
This is a trope that goes back to the White Rabbit.
Right.
That only what was the actor?
I don't.
Super famous. I forget. Super famous actors. Harvey the White Rabbit. So Harvey was this gigantic 6-foot tall rabbit.
It was
completely invisible. Peter Fonda.
No.
Henry Fonda.
No.
Wasn't Henry Fonda?
No, I thought the White Rabbit was
The Invisible Rabbit.
It's Harvey. The movie was I think it's called Harvey,
Right.
and it was It's a Wonderful Life. Jimmy
Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart.
Thank you. I've
Thank
said
you.
Peter Fonda, Henry Fonda, Jimmy Stewart.
Took us
So
a
Jimmy
minute.
Stewart.
Took us a minute to get there. It was so worth the trip, though.
So listen, in the movie, you actually believe in the Invisible Rabbit because Jimmy Stewart looks over here and is talking to Harvey, and he's talking back. And Harvey's actually carrying his side of the conversation. You can't hear Harvey, but Jimmy Stewart looking over at this empty space makes you believe in Harvey, and you believe in this empty air. That there's an invisible 6-foot rabbit in that empty air that only he can talk to. And what was the name of the guy? Is it Dr. Dolittle, the TV show from like in the 60s or 70s?
where you talk to animals?
He can talk to animals. Nobody else can talk to animals. The animals can talk to him. He can talk back to
Rick
the animals.
Harrison, yeah.
And so what
And I
happens?
think that was
a
because I
movie.
don't have any frame of
I think it's
reference.
a Disney movie.
It's been done a couple times. And
here's
Dr. Doolittle's not crazy. The animals are really talking. No one else can hear it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is nobody else can hear it.
Yeah.
My point is that this is a proven thing. Whenever you're a good world builder and a person can talk to this character and this character makes these noises nobody else can understand. That was a Star Trek thing. Very often on Star Trek,
Yeah.
there would be the character that only Data could understand, or something. He was like a translator. Nobody else could understand what was saying, but Data could translate what was actually happening. And so that device, that literary device, is time-tested. And whenever a client says, I think this is cool, and you're going, all right, and then he decides to buy one, great. If you have Charlie's imagination and Charlie's understanding, okay, the situation we're in is we have to have rules for Wrenchy. What can Wrenchy do? What can Wrenchy not do? What can Dan do? What can Dan not do? Et cetera. And then when you create this thing.
Well, that just wakes broker right up.
Yeah.
Right.
It just, the imagination, suddenly people are involved. They're engaged with the ads. And see, the people that fail are the ones who go, well, I don't think that makes sense. I don't think my customer would respect that. I think that's childish. Yeah, go ahead and be poor. Go over there and be poor and stupid. I don't care. Because this stuff works. It always works if you know what you're doing. And the brave client who says, I think that's a great idea, and he buys one, he has it delivered to Charlie. All right, Charlie, I bought the thing. Figure out what to do with it, buddy. And Charlie goes, cool, that's my job. And so it will be amazingly effective. What do all Wizard of Ads partners have in common? We're crazy.
Yeah.
That's it.
We think about things in different ways. Yeah.
So Charlie, with Wrenchy, tell me who Wrenchy is as a person, imaginary person, but tell me who Wrenchy is.
Wrenchy is the technician's technician and has a heart of gold and wants to please. That's Wrenchy. Simple, I mean, there's no point in making him any more complex than that because we want him to be simple like a child.
And if we were actually seeing the mascot, and this is perfect for the listeners because
He's right on the logo. Go to the website. It's right there on the logo.
Well, my question was, so is it all radio ads or do you have TV ads?
No,
here?
these are absolutely TV ads.
These are TV ads.
Yeah.
So is Wrenchy like a styrofoam looking mascot?
No, I mean it's this thing. You know, our insert stage has a 9-foot ceiling, which is really small for a TV studio, but it's 9 feet, and we have to go back up against the wall with our widest angle and go up high to keep him on the green screen. He's that big.
So
he's huge.
It's not a person in a Wrenchy suit.
It is a person in a Wrenchy suit.
Wow.
Yeah, one of my people. I will say thank you, Zach, is the guy who gets in it and performs as Wrenchy whenever it comes in, and he ships it here and ships it back. We're using a mascot like that for R.S. Andrews in Atlanta too, and it got to a point where the shipping was so much the client says, "I'm buying another one and just leaving it there." And and we think Dan is going to get there with Wrenchy because he's becoming that much a character in the ads.
Oh, very cool. So. Just for perspective, how much is a Wrenchy outfit like that?
Anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 to how much do you want to spend?
$7,000 to $10,000. Billy the doorman and Jennifer the queen, the door queen. What are those outfits?
I'm going to tell you the embarrassing truth.
Okay.
So I sent Billy looking for door. I sent him lots and lots and lots of pictures. This is what makes it a doorman uniform. This is what you're looking for, et cetera, et cetera. So he looked and looked and looked and looked and looked in all the catalogs, looked online, looked on Amazon, looked everywhere, did it. I mean, he got diligent about it because this is his signature outfit forever, right? So he goes to this costume shop.
No.
Yeah. He goes to this costume shop. He goes, oh, my gosh, this is amazing. He put it on, took a picture of it. And it's like, this is amazing. And so he asked the costume shop about it, and they said, well, that's actually a real doorman suit, and the man retired and sold it to us. It's the only one we have. That's why it looks amazing. It's spectacular. And he said, well, how much does it rent for? And they told him. And he said, well, can I buy it? Absolutely, positively not. Under no circumstances can you buy it. It's like, really, I'd pay a lot for it. And they go, nope, no way it can be bought. And he goes, okay, well, can I rent it? Yeah. How much do I owe you if I never bring it back? And they told him, and he goes, okay. And so
that's how he got it? I love it.
Yeah.
And so the deal is, he goes, okay. And it's like, so she answered the question. He said,
What if it got ruined on the trip back? What would happen?
No. It's a simple financial transaction.
He says to him,
yeah.
a sad thing happened.
And she goes, and so Jennifer gets it down between these two outfits, and they're both really spectacular. And they text me and says, which one do you think is better? And I said, this one for this reason. And Billy's going, yes, that's exactly what I told her. I gave her the exact same reason. And Billy was validated. He goes, I knew what Roy was going to say because I've heard him say so many things so many times. I knew he'd pick that one. I agreed with him. That's the one. So Jennifer goes, well, Billy and Roy both agree that's the one. So she went with it. And then I think now she realizes, oh, yeah, for the reason they said, this one is so much more memorable, right, and impactful.
It goes back to what Roy said.
So not that much money is the bottom line. Not $7,000-$10,000.
But it goes back to what Roy said about building a world.
Right.
You know, if you want this stuff to work, you have to create this reality that you stay within.
Yes. Well, and this is the reason why I ask you both these questions, right? Because when we kicked off the show, we were talking about attention tax, and we say that's the tax you pay for being ordinary. And you go, well, why is that the tax? Because the more boring your ads are, the less creative are, the more it's going to cost to get people to pay attention. Well, even if they will pay attention, you're just going to spend a lot of money.
Let me say this about that. Let's just stipulate that it's an unfair game, right? In the sense that a large brand can probably run an ad that's not as out there as you are and get traction off that ad because of the girth of the brand. If you're a challenger brand, if you're a brand that's coming up and you're trying to make presence, doing these things multiplies the value of it and levels the playing field. Right? Like in Houston, does John Moore have to spend as much he will spend X dollars on it. Does Village Plumbing have to pay more? You bet they do, because John Moore has such a larger share of mind. So when you're looking at this, it's not only a matter of attention, it's a matter of survival.
Sure.
Because you're building a brand. So you have to create this equation where what you're creating stands out, where it is building this
You have to get more
fluency.
for your dollar than your bigger competitors.
Absolutely. Right. And it goes back to that research about dull ads. You know,
right.
Many people coming up want to play it safe, right? They want an ad that won't.
And the bigger you get, the really big companies always play it safe.
Always.
They always play it safe. The reason that big companies are vulnerable, I hate to work for big companies because they want to play it safe and they're vulnerable to the little guy coming from behind that nobody sees coming, who's taking all the chances and doing all the memorable things and spends way less money but has way more high-impact ads. That's what brings joy to advertisers, is turning the little guy into a big guy and then helping him always continue to do the thing that made him famous.
Right.
And so people get big and they want to go even bigger, and they think all it takes is money and creativity. I'm going, nope, it takes courage from you. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the courage, there's no amount of creativity I can bring to it that will compensate for your lack of courage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I will float this out there. I agree with everything that you guys are saying, right? And I think the thing that I want the plane to land on for the listener is that when we talk about attention, talk about being famous, and I'm asking you, how much does Renchi cost and how much are their outfits? You go, in the big scheme of things, it's not very much. But that's not the investment. The real investment's going to come with what happens when you start trying to create a message. Can you do it and can you do it well? Some people can. There are some people that have gone to Wizard Academy, and I'll give you a perfect example of this. My very long-time good friend, Terry Barrett, we had a moment where we were sitting down at Lake Martin, and we're talking about principle-based training. That's where the acronym Press Play came from. We just started writing it out, and I was saying, hey, I think like this, and he would throw a word out there. Like, that's a good word. Well, years and years and years ago, he went to, I think it was Magical World.
Okay.
And he called me. He's like, have you ever been there? I'm like, no. And I'm like, well, tell me about what happened there, right? He went because I think Lennox or Amanda, someone bought a bunch of tickets.
Right.
I don't know. This was years and years back. They bought a bunch of tickets for their best reps and they sent them. He's like, oh man, it was absolutely crazy. They're playing music super loud. People were drinking a lot, and Roy was up there, and Roy was telling this and that. And he goes, I got an idea, Todd. And I'll go, like, what's your idea? He goes, this is my idea. I think I'm gonna start putting up these radio ads where there's a technician, and the scenario is he's on a plane. And, you know, someone comes over and says something's going on with the plane. And he goes, I can fix that. And then I'm going to jump in and be like, sit down, Daniel. We're HVAC technicians. We're you know, it's like he's got this guy. The thing is, I can fix that. So he's telling me this, and I'm going, that's really creative. This was long before my association with you. Well, he went out and did a whole bunch of ads. He wrote them. He didn't hire a partner.
Yeah.
He wrote them. He sent them to me, and I'm listening to him going, that is flipping hilarious.
Yeah.
This technician is everywhere. He's at hospitals. He can fix it.
Right.
He's on airplanes. He can fix it. He's out in the marina. He can fix it.
That's really brilliant.
He's in the oddest places, and he can fix it.
Yeah.
And their company blew up.
Yeah. No, I would say it's a brilliant idea.
Well, they learned it at the campus.
Well, the premise is genius. I love a student that got it.
Yeah.
Came to one class, walked away with what I was hoping to give him. You should have told me that story sooner. I'll be mad at you for a long time for not having told me that story sooner.
Now.
All right.
Well, we can get Terry on the phone. He's probably one of my best friends in the whole entire world.
Wow.
And he came back from one class. He said lots of F words and lots of cussing and lots of drinking of wine. And he goes, but it got me thinking, Todd. And he just sort of unpacks it over the phone with me. And then he turns it into these ads. And their company grew real big. Air Now was already known for doing a great job. And they grew real big. And as you can imagine, private equity, they had their cash out moment. But that all came from a class at the Wizard of Ads.
But he maintained that I can fix that.
That was
the
their
handle.
thing. I can fix that.
Love that.
Yeah,
Love that.
I can fix that. Calm down, Daniel. Let the doctors handle it. But I can fix it, Terry. No, we fix air conditioning systems. We don't do heart surgery.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing that he can't step in and
fix anything.
Save the day.
Anything, yeah. And I don't know this, but I'm sure those ad campaigns went to the wayside once they sold, as
Of course,
all
yeah,
things
yeah,
do.
We're working with a client in Little Rock. Johnny Molson and I are working on this one, and we've come up with this campaign. Johnny came up with this idea. The name of the company is Dash. And we said, well, how did you come up with that name? He said, well, we used to be called, I think it was Independent Air Conditioning, which is like back then everything was union in Arkansas, and their whole point was that they were independent. They weren't a union shop. Well, they kept that name long after its utility had passed.
Right.
And then they're at a conference. I think Jim Abrams was running this conference. And he says to him, you need a name that speaks to what you do. And he said, well, we want to be fast. We want to really be known for being fast. And but we can't say, he was smart enough to know, I can't go with fast. And so he said, we're going to call it Dash. That's it. So that's the name of the company. So we come in, we do the uncovery, and we say to him, so he tells this whole story, and never in all the years that they had this did they think of saying, we'll be there in a flash. And so now, Fast and First, Dash Fast and First will be there in a flash. And the whole series, like your guy, is that we have these historic moments, like the Pilgrims landing at Plymouth Rock. And I claim this land for, hey there. And the camera whips around, and there's the client saying, hey, Fast and First, Dash is here.
Yeah. We beat you to it.
And here's the great thing. Artemis is coming back to Earth.
Right.
We happen to have one where Neil Armstrong is landing on the moon.
Right.
And he's like, hey, Dash, Fast and First. That ad is starting tomorrow.
That's awesome.
The day Artemis is supposed to come back to Earth, we're going to be on the moon with this ad. But it's this whole idea.
Cool.
But the point I'm making is your guy intuitively came up with this fluent device, just as Johnny has come up with this fluent device. And Save You Money is a fluent device.
You got to please tell me you've chosen a sonic device.
Yes.
For flash.
Yeah.
For the sound effect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's
I was gonna say,
it's right out of cartoons. But
Right.
but I will tell you, he also, one of the things we inherited when we came in there, he has a really cool little jingle sonic cue at the end that we inherited that we're using. But the point is that when you're designing a brand, if I was speaking to a contractor, I'd tell him, you need to find some fluent device that's going to show up again and again, like Flow. Right?
Yeah.
A Progressive, right? You think about Flo, she's been doing this since 2008, okay? And even that there was serendipity to how Flo became the spokesperson, because she was just supposed to be an actress in an ad. But the way she delivered the line, I know, right? That moment they said, there's something here.
Uh-oh.
And that began the development of the Flo character to the point where and I've talked to you about this before. When I'm testing clients on fluency, I'll say to them, don't you love those Progressive ads where the emu thing was going on? Well, no, that's Liberty Mutual. Oh, Flo, she's Progressive. I said, that's fluency. When the character, when the component signals the brand so deep in your mind that you know it.
Yeah.
That is a memory structure you can build a brand on.
Charlie, you refer to that as passing the vibe checklist.
Right.
Did you come up with vibe, or is that someone
No,
else?
that's Kantar came up with Vibe.
Well, it's
I would
still
love
really cool.
Love to claim credit for that.
Tell
one.
us what vibe is. Like, if you're
Well,
mentally
it's
going
vibrant.
through the checklist.
It's vibrant. It's interesting. It's bold, and it's energetic.
There you go.
Right. And if you think about those 4 touch points as you go through Vibe, one's motivational, one's inspiring, one's engaging, and the other one is what's the 4th one? I'm having a senior moment. Anyway.
Energetic?
Energetic, yeah. It's exciting. It moves you forward. It has energy to it. And that is kind of like back in 1986 when I moved to Texas. I worked at a radio station, 97 Rock. And this is way long before I met Roy.
Yeah.
They hired me, came in, and the program director sat me down and said, okay, Charlie, here are the 4 things you need to know about our format. 97 Rock is hooked into Houston. It's rock and roll. It's unpredictable, and it's fun. If it's not those 4 things, we don't do it.
That's their check.
Right. That was their vibe. You know, and it's a diamond. It's and all those things, and that's what created such a magical brand. And so when you look for vibe in a brand, you're looking for those touch points to make sure it delivers. Does your fluent device animate the vibe?
we're going to watch an ad here in just a second that's got a really cool vibe to it for sure, a Twix ad. But before we do, I tell this story about my friend Terry that attended a class and then came back, and they were actually able to put together a very consistent creative ad campaign, and it grew their company. Charlie, you might not know this, and listener, you might not know this, but when Roy and I did this radio show, it was our gift to the audience to say, we want to provide real knowledge to people totally free. And if someone can take what we've taught and do it, then go do it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to gate this information behind a paywall.
Right.
And Roy and I have invested serious time and money in doing that. And today's a perfect example. We've shared so many like real life approaches and say, you can do it. Mm-hmm. And if you're a creative person and you're just looking for a spark, attend a Wizard of Ads Academy class. Go to the academy. Go watch Daniel. Go watch Dave. They'll do a great job. They'll inspire you. You may be able to go back and do it on your own. If you're going, that'll never be me, you might surprise yourself. But if you really think that, pick up the phone, give us a call. We can talk to you, right? No matter where you're at, we can point you to resources because we've been doing this for a long time. There's tons of good articles on the wizardofads.com site. There's tons of good articles on toddliles.com. We will help you. And I just wanted to point that out because, if that was a partner account, that would have made them a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But it didn't have to be a partner account.
Of course.
Because we gave someone the tools to do it in a class that they could get for a few $1,000s.
You don't know where the where Wizard of Ads experience is going to go. Fun fact, I don't remember the year, but my very first experience of Wizard of Ads was about 100 yards from here.
Yeah. Over there.
In Buda, Texas, when Roy was first here. And I came here and paid full price for that class. I wasn't smart enough to take the online writing class to get the alumni discount. I just paid full price. Brought an employee with me, paid full price for her too. But that the experience of Wizard of Ads changed my life because it changed my thinking. Mm-hmm. When you change your thinking, you create possibilities.
That's right.
And if you were going to tie this all up in a bow about what we're talking about in fame, is that fame creates possibility thinking. It creates happiness and open thinking. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the goal of any successful brand.
I got to say this because he did such a good job and you did such a good kind of vamping Wizard Academy. This is a point of clarification. I've never made a penny from Wizard Academy. I've spent many, many, many millions of dollars of my money building the place on land that I paid a huge fortune for and then giving it to a board of directors that I don't know any of them. And it's a nonprofit. And I have no access to the facilities unless I pay the exact same price as everybody else. Whenever we have partner meetings at Wizard Academy, I pay the same $25,000 a day that everybody else has to pay to have a private class in those facilities. And so the bottom line is, this is not something the money that came in went to build the place. The money that came in went to pay the other people that were teaching there and helping. I never took a penny of it. Never will take a penny of it. It was never a profit center for me. And you made my month with your story of Terry that I don't remember, sadly, but he paid attention. He goes, I think I understand what he was trying to tell me for those 3 days. And the atmosphere, we work extremely hard to create an atmosphere of, I tell people in the very first morning of the class of Magical Worlds, and when I was teaching it, Daniel Whittington's doing a fantastic, unbelievable, better than me job today, teaching the Magical Worlds course. Teaches about once every 6 weeks. But I would always tell people, you have a lifetime of experience sitting in straight rows facing an authority figure at the front of the room. And the authority figure gives you the agenda, the pre-digested information. He downloads it into you so that you can regurgitate it on test day to demonstrate competence. And I said, that's not what we're doing here. And I said, you have a lifetime of experience sitting in straight rows facing an authority figure, and I cannot let you go to that place in your head. So I'm going to break every possible rule of that paradigm. We're going to play really loud party music. We're going to have open containers of alcohol on the table in front of you. We couldn't care less if you drank it or not. But there's going to be open containers of alcohol on the tables in front of you. You can drink it if you want. Don't drink it if you don't want. There's no pressure here. I'm going to talk about things that no sane lecturer would talk about. I'm going to push all of your buttons, and you're going to be dizzy by the time you walk out of here every night. But you're going to hang out for 3 days and 3 nights with other crazy people, and you have a great time. I'm going to disappear. As soon as I'm done lecturing, I got to go home and go to bed. I'm not hanging out with you guys. You're hanging out with each other, and you are going to be changed these 3 days. Never made a penny from that. Spent thousands of hours and millions of dollars to build the place as a gift to the world. So when we talk about we're doing this, I'm just looking for more Terrys. I want to equip people to go out and go, I think I can do this. And he did it. Now, I got some bad news for Terry. Well, it might be good news for Terry. When he wants to come to visit, either me or Daniel Whittington or Dave will
take him for a walk?
Yeah, say,
Oh,
hey,
God.
let's go for a walk. And he goes, oh, where are we going to walk? I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the money you're about to donate. And then they go, am I getting ready to donate some money? I said, it's up to you, but I think when you see what we're going to do with it and you see how little money it takes to do that, you're probably going to want to do it. But if you don't, no harm, no foul. Do you know I've never been turned down?
I believe it.
You know how I cheat?
You name it after him.
No, that's not it at all.
How do you cheat?
I've never admitted this before. I know exactly what it's going to take to build it. I only asked them for 1/3 of that much money. And they go, you could do that with that little money? Absolutely. Because I'm going to kick in the other 2/3. I want their participation and I want their sense of ownership and I want their sense of I am part of this place. And the only way to make a person see that's a fantastic value, doesn't matter how much you name, if they know it's impossible to do that for that amount of money, absolutely. If I can do that with that little money, I'm going, sure you can. They give the money, we make the thing happen, okay? And nobody is ever the wiser. And I've never admitted that before, but that's what I've done all these years.
That's amazing.
You heard it here first.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Let's check out this ad. I think you guys are going to, well, Roy, you might be the only one surprised by it, but I think you're going to get a kick out of it. All right?
You know, it doesn't matter if you choose left or right because they're both chewy, crunchy, and delicious.
You know, it doesn't matter if you choose left or right because they're both chewy, crunchy, and delicious. You know what else I like?
No, what?
The sound of the snap.
When you bite into it.
Okay, listener. Two twins sitting on a log talking about Twix, and behind them in the distance are two twin bears talking about eating the campers.
We assume they're talking about eating the campers.
Yes, it just works. You're right.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. That's
it's
terrifying.
It's great. So how does that pass the vibe check?
You're kidding, right?
No. Unpack it for us, though.
Well, I mean, there's this implied connection between the two that it's so obvious. You have two parallel conversations that are going on that are using the same language to describe two very different things, and you as the viewer are putting those things together.
You're participating.
You're participating, so it's becoming a co-created reality in this thing.
Yes, that's the word.
And I think that the beautiful thing of that is at the end of it, what do? They snap the candy bar. And it kind of ties the whole thing, it closes the circle for the message. My understanding is they took the second exchange out to get the ad on the air, where they said you bite into it. They say, yeah, it's going too far. That's my
I thought
understanding.
It was perfect.
I think it's a great ad. Oh, it's an award-winning piece of creative, without a doubt. And, it makes me kind of think on the way home, I'm going to stop and get me a Twix bar.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got one. I'll tell you what. Listeners, you've enjoyed a great show. Let's go get a Twix bar, guys.
I'm all
you
over
want
it.
one to run?
I want one right now.
Let's go get one. Every ad you run either earns attention or it pays a tax for poor attention. So earn it with something vivid, emotional, surprising. And the market remembers you for free. Pay for it with something safe, rational, and forgettable, and you'll spend the rest of your budget buying what you should have already earned. That's the attention tax, and the only way to stop paying for it is to stop being ordinary. If you're liking what you're hearing here, then subscribe to Todd Liles and the Wizard of Ads. Share this episode with whomever approves your creative, because the next time they water down a bold idea, they're writing a check to the attention tax. Visit toddliles.com/wizard for today's show notes.
You've been listening to Taco Supreme, Todd Liles, and the Wizard of Ads, where the bold win and the remarkable reign. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a conversation. If you want a copy of the show notes or watch the ads from today's show, head over to toddliles.com/wizard. This episode is dedicated to the business owners who refuse to be ordinary.